All right, so in this video, what we're going to cover is the messaging behind the two-step funnel. So a lot of this is going to be more strategy. It's probably going to be the shortest video in this series. I'm not going to actually go into building the templates on this specific video. When we cover the automation, that's in the next one, the video 404. That's where we'll have all the templates set up and all the automation in place to hit go on this. In this video, we're really just answering the question, how should I have my profile set up in a way that's going to collect leads? So we've talked a little bit about this originally, but we're going to go back over the funnel and just talk a little bit more about the strategy of messaging and how that plays into the links that we've set up and are tracking already. So the reason behind this all, again, is just to be better than the cold call. The alternative is, you pick up the phone, go through the phone book, and use a really, archaic way of trying to connect with people. So with all this data, with all the ability to track links and open emails and all of that, the idea that you're going to still work down the top of a list with no context to who is most interested is just a waste of your time. So if you want to do that, then again, you're just wasting your time. And if nothing else, this is going to allow you to be much more effective, do a lot more in literally less time. So that's the whole goal of it. I just do this myself for that exact reason. Rather than spend a whole afternoon or a whole day prospecting another week, you can do the exact same amount of work and be more effective at it in an hour a day, literally. So the way it looks in practice is I try and lay things out here in this Funalytics tool. It's honestly a lot more simple than the amount of icons here. Really, all we're focused on is we're sending people to a blog post with that. If you saw the previous video, we're using link gauge to be able to capture information from a blog post that we're sending people to. So this is really, if you know or are familiar with the HubSpot kind of buyer's journey, this is still early in in that journey, right? So they're not anywhere near decision making yet, and it's kind of awareness consideration, definitely not in the decision making. So that's why we have content related to education. So it's ebooks, white papers, reports, and if they want to download that, they give you their email. And then the big thing here is that we're going to try and build some rapport with them and suggest next steps via a video, ideally. So the content that you need to create is very low. You can actually do this and execute on it without having to create any brand new content. But what you'll want to do is try and give something worth, like we talked about before, a hook story offer. So what's the offer, right? You can have a chance to tell your story a little bit in this video so that you can present your offer, but this should be the hook. So what's going to hook people in that's interesting? It doesn't have to be something you spend a lot of time on. It can be a consultative call. It can be, some type of service that you're going to offer for free. It doesn't have to involve a lot of upfront work if you want to get this rolling right away. But this is the name of the game. You want to, again, we're talking about direct outreach here. So the idea is that you're going to connect with people via connection requests. And then once you have the connection request, you have the ability to follow up with a direct message. And the direct message is going to contain a link to the guest post. And then once they land on the guest post, a certain percentage of those people are going to download whatever you have as the hook. And then you're going to present your story and the offer, not necessarily a sale, but whatever you want them to do and take as the next action. So the ways that they can find this post through your LinkedIn profile are either in the content that you're posting or in the summary section where you have content or the direct messages you're sending out. And then the reason why this outbound email sequence icon is here is because in the next video in the automation section, we're going to show you how, just because some people prefer to communicate via email still, not everybody's going to respond to you on LinkedIn. They may hit connect all or accept all on their connection requests, but they're not going to get back to you here. So in those cases, what we'll do is send people into an email sequence, and it just provides further insight and context to who's potentially most interested in what you have to offer. So in the remainder of this video, I'm going to cover a little bit into the templates and just remind you of what types of templates we're using. And then I'm going to show you how you can prioritize and what literally your to-do list could look like. So if you haven't downloaded this already, It's right on the marathonmarketing.com site. This is all the different versions of templates. It's under the profile template download. So it has the profile template up first. It has everything about LinkedIn profile, what you should change, kind of a checklist to change your profile. And then below that, it has all the templates. So ideally, you're going to be really like highly contextual, highly personalized with all these. So even in the connection request, there's a bunch of different examples of other contexts that you can pull from their profile and how to, make that sound really good in a way that's going to get them to reply, and all kinds of things. So how you can build similarity and even the psychology behind why it works. And then at the bottom here, we talk about the follow-up. So the follow-up is that second message. And you can see here, there's an opportunity to paste in a link, and that link is going to lead them to that blog post article. And the reason why we're doing that is because if we go back to this checklist, this is kind of what our daily to-do list is going to look like. So first, we're going to handle, if we have the automation set up, we're going to handle the replies on LinkedIn. So people who've gotten back to us. Obviously, we spent some time coming up with a custom personalized message there. So we want to follow up with those people. And then we're going to look at the opt-ins. So who's joined our email list? Obviously, they've resonated with our message a little bit. Maybe they saw our video, but didn't book in a meeting or didn't take that next action that we suggested. So that's going to be an easy phone call for us because, again, they know you. They're familiar with you. They've seen your face already. So when you call them, it's an easy kind of, step up to whatever you want to talk about, or an easy intro. And then the last thing on LinkedIn is going to be your profile views. So this is going to be all the people that you've been messaging. As part of that sequence, you're going to actually be viewing their profile as well. So you'll get a lot of look backs, and you can quite easily filter those down to the people that look like a good potential lead for you. So if you focus on these 3 steps just on the LinkedIn sequencing, that'll get you pretty far. But then depending on how much time you have to spend on prospecting, you may want to just actually make more calls, plain and simple. So if you have, let's say you have 30, 25 to 50, somewhere in there, these connection requests going out a day, like we start here, and then we have 25 or 50 of these. Say we get, 10 or 15 connection requests a day, and that is that many people dropping into this email list. That way you have more people to prioritize as opposed to just the ones that are going to make it through here. So the idea is, you have a handful of people that are quite warm that you can follow up with that seem to be engaged on a daily basis. And that way you don't have to waste any of your time on the people that, they may look good on paper in terms of the match towards their company and the context and what you can do for them, but maybe there's clearly just no interest. So you can circle back with those people with and keep them in your audience, keep educating them, but that's not where you want to waste your time in terms of like personal follow-ups. And this is really where you can quite easily close, depending on what you're selling, pretty high ticket level offers. So anything from a service or a SaaS company that's $100 or a few $100s a month to mid 5-figure types of service deals, even higher for sure. So the last thing I'll mention here is just this idea of the email. So again, this is going to be the automation section, the next video. But what's powerful about this is that you can actually go in, have this automated. So these emails are going to go out. Of course, I'm always going to suggest that you personalize them. And you definitely should go in and personalize them. They'll just queue up here for you as a new connection request. And then you can say, add the context. But what you can track here is everything from the page views when they're on your website. And it's just a simple tracking code that you put on. And you can have this set up to actually be tracking the number of opens that people have on your emails as well. So rather than, treat everybody the same, you can look through and see if people have opened your emails more than like 5 times, for example, and then find out more about those people and spend more time actually personally connecting with them. So again, we're going to save that for the next video in the automation section, but hopefully this kind of clears things up a little bit, brings some clarity to how you should be focusing your effort in LinkedIn. I believe this is easily the easiest place to get started. So what we're doing, again, just to really quickly run through this, is we're trying to get this link out to as many people as we can, and most relevant people that we can. So it's already on our profile, but not everybody's gonna be viewing our profile. So we want to get more people to view our profile, more people into that link. So we're gonna actually connect with a lot of people that are in our target market, and then follow up with them with a link to the post. And if they don't get back to us, what we're gonna say is maybe you prefer to not know that many words, but maybe prefer to actually communicate over email. So if that's the case, then you're going to be getting some replies here as well. And what this leaves you with is you're going to be starting to build an audience, not just on LinkedIn with your followers and your connections, but an email list so that you can retarget them, and not just retarget them, but start to just continue to educate them, put them in your pipeline, and have people that you can connect with, as opposed to, or who are already interested, as opposed to just calling the cold leads. So hopefully this again was valuable. I know a lot of people just post blindly. They don't really have a strategy when it comes to what to do with their profile or what to do with direct outreach on LinkedIn. So I found that this is a pretty simple way of having a really clear to-do list on a daily basis that's going to make efficient use of your time, and hopefully get you some good conversations without spending all day just cold calling down a list. So really encourage you guys to watch the next video. It's going to come out in the next email, or you can just hit the little message button in the bottom of this screen and DM me, and I'll send you a link to it. All right, well, talk to you guys soon. Cheers.